Independence Day is the Philippines' one of the most important celebrations in the country, since the Pearl of the Orient Seas has been released after more than 300 years of Spanish oppression. Let's talk about the proclamation of the Independence Day of the Philippines. Emilio Aguinaldo family was born in 1869 in local elite of Cavite in the Philippines. His father had been the mayor of Kawit, Cavite, and then at the time of his death in 1878, a post Aguinaldo would hold in 1895. That same year, Emilio Aguinaldo joined the secret nationalist association, which is Katipunan, founded by Andres Bonifacio. After the Philippines erupted in revolt against the Spaniards in 1896, Aguinaldo won several victories in Cavite province. When Bonifacio came out of hiding in March 1897 and tried to reassert his leadership of Katipunan, Aguinaldo ordered his arrest, imprisonment, and eventual execution on May 10, 1897. Katipunan forces retreat into the mountains in the face of Spanish attacks. Ultimately, he entered into accord with the Spaniards agreeing to exile Hong Kong in exchange for 400,000 pesos. After his arrival there, Aguinaldo purchased the weapon his troops would require to continue the struggle. After the US declared war on Spain, Emilio Aguinaldo saw a possibility that the Philippines might achieve its independence. He returned from Hong Kong to Manila on May 19, 1898, and then on June 12, 1898, between 4 and 5 in the afternoon, the Philippine Declaration of Independence was proclaimed at ancestral home of General Emilio Aguinaldo in Cavite El Viejo, or Kawit, Cavite in present day. The Philippine flag was made in Hong Kong by Marcela Agoncillo, her daughter Laurencia Agoncillo, and Delfina Herbosa, a niece of Dr. Jose Rizal. The white triangle represents equality and distinctive emblem of the famous Katipunan nationalist organization. Then the three stars represent the three main geographical regions of the Philippines, which are Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. The sun represents independence, and its 8 rays represent the 8 provinces that lead the Philippine uprising against the Spanish rule. Blue symbolize patriotism and justice. The red represent valor and the blood split for freedom and independence. Let's proceed to the national anthem, which is the Marcha Filipina Magdalo, now known as Lupang Hinirang, which was composed by Julian Felipe and played by the San Francisco de Malabon Marching Band. The Act of Declaration of Independence was prepared, written and read by Ambrosio Rienzares Bautista in Spanish. The declaration was signed by 98 people. Among them is American Army officer who witnessed the proclamation who attended the proceedings, Mr. L.M. Johnson, a colonel of artillery. The proclamation of the Philippine independence was however publicized on August 1, 1898. But the declaration was not acknowledged by the United States nor Spain. And Spain later sold the Philippines to the United States for $20 million in 1898. Treaty of Paris ended the Spanish-American War. In Philippine-American War, the Philippine Revolutionary Government did not recognize the treaty or American sovereignty and eventually fought and lost a conflict with the United States. Lead up when Emilio Aguinaldo was arrested by US forces and provided a statement acknowledging and accepting the sovereignty of the United States over the Philippines. In 1916, Jones Act promised the country's eventual independence. In 1935, the archipelago became an independent commonwealth, and July 4, 1946, the United States granted the independence in the Philippines via the Treaty of Manila. As a result, July 4 was recognized as independence of the Philippines during 1946 to 1963. But in 1964, President Gustavo Macapagal signed into law Republic Act No. 4166 designating June 12 as the country's Independence Day.